everyone, welcome to Watch It Paint It. So I've been talking to a subscriber, Johnny0851, and he sent me a little parcel. We were talking about 3D printing and how you might paint on top of models you've painted from there, and I'm quite interested in 3D printing, so this is what he sent me. These are trapdoors that you can use in Zombicide Black Plague. Whoops, just knocked that off, but it goes back on very easily. And these are plastic models that you can just replace those cardboard trapdoor vault entrances that you use in the game, and I think it adds a lot to the game. I mean, we're already painting the models, right? So why not have some 3D obstacles and doors and such? And these aren't available from CMON, so it's great that you can go to somewhere like Thingiverse and download, or have it printed for you, download the schematics for it and print it yourself. So let's see what we can do. So here's one that I've just painted today, and I'm reasonably happy with it. I mean, I think that's a lot nicer than the cardboard that we're using, but you can see there's some resolution issues with the print lines, and I've not had much practice painting this, so in this video I just want to practice some more, just a little model for scale. So Johnny0851 also sent me a little Pikachu model here, and in this video I'm just going to paint it just for practice, just to see if I can prepare the plastic better and how to go about applying the paint. So I thought I'd show you the finished result straight away, just in case this is of no interest to you, and following Pikachu there. And just, I don't know if Johnny0851 knew this, but I actually quite like Pikachu, so that's a happy coincidence. So I quite enjoyed that it also contained a random Pikachu model in the little package there. So I'm just showing the model to begin with. It's quite difficult, I apologise for that at the start. It's white, I've got a white lamp, and it's a little bit difficult to see, but that will become a lot easier as we go through. So I've not shown this before on the channel, but I do this quite a lot with most of the models that I paint, and this is just preparing it before I apply the primer. So here I'm using two files. One's a triangular file with 3 flat edges, and this the model's quite angular, so this file's perfect for just trying to sand down some of those print lines. So I'm just taking a load off there, and then I'm using the round file here just to get in those nooks and crannies and knocking off the excess dust. So I'm going to use a white primer and apply this with a paintbrush. Just my usual excuses: it's raining, it's always raining, it's England, and it's constantly wet, so I didn't want to go outside with the primer, so I'm just applying it with a paintbrush here. And one mistake I did make, I noticed straight away, is I didn't go and wash the model after I sanded it down, so should have done that. That's one mistake I've noticed myself. So we're going to be using Moon Yellow, and I'm using the monster brush here. Not that I think anybody will be following along with this, but on Thingiverse you can have this printed if you cared, or if you've got a 3D printer you can print it yourself and use this for various applications. Mine's just going to sit next to me on my desk cheering me on, I think. But so I'm applying the yellow all over the model here, just giving it a nice thin even base coat. I'm going to do another coat off camera there just to make it nice and visible. Leather brown by Vallejo, and this is to paint on the bottom of his tail. He's got this brown patch at the bottom. Hope you can see that there. I've switched down to the regiment brush just so I don't catch his bottom while I'm doing the tail. I'm going to be mixing that leather brown with Moon Yellow, about 50-50% mix, and I'm just going to be blending that brown just up his tail a little bit, making it a little bit more realistic. Hopefully you can see that there, just dabbing it on, sort of stippling it on there. Using Dead Black by the Zombicide, from the Zombicide set by the Army Painter. This is just paint on the tips of his ears. Made a little mistake there, so if you ever make a mistake, what I do is I flood the area, so I get my paintbrush wet and apply as much water as I can to it, and then dry the paintbrush and take off that wet paint using a dry paintbrush and cleaning it in between each time. So as you can see, it cleaned up quite nicely there, no mistake anymore. I'm also painting in his eyeballs here, giving him a nice black inside, and painting on some angry eyebrows and a little mouse nose. And let's see, I'm practicing everything. That's a bit of freehand drawing on of his mouth there. I've not done a lot of sort of freehand drawing with paintbrushes. Normally I use the detail on the model. So again, here's some more freehand, and I'm just painting on those 2 brown stripes that he has across his back, little mouse guy. And that's that done. So I'm going to be on to Brain Matter Beige, the white, and I'm down to my detail brush, and I'm just dabbing in 2 little pupils. He's got reverse eyeballs. I don't know, he's a cartoon. I'm just following along with how he looks. I'm going to be using a new shader. I've not used this one before. I've had it a while, just waiting for a yellow to try it out on. So again, this model's perfect for me testing things. I'm not worried about ruining any of my game components. So it's light tone by the Army Painter, and hopefully you can see it's a sort of very light brown, sort of orangey, I guess, and I'm applying that all over this model. I don't know if you can see, but it was fairly obvious to me that it's shading in between of those print lines, and to some extent I thought that's quite good. He is a furry creature, so it's making the fur look more realistic, and over extents it's just quite annoying and makes the model look quite dirty. So I think if I did it again, I'd be painting the shader in just the recesses. I'd be a lot more accurate. As you can see here, I've taken that moon yellow again and I'm highlighting him up, but basically just painting all of his fur back into yellow, so undoing a lot of what I did with the shader there. I'm going to be taking Grey Matter Beige and mixing that about 50-50, maybe a little bit more white than yellow, and that's just to highlight all of these sharp edges of him. He's quite, as I mentioned at the start, he's quite angular, so I'm just painting basically every single angular edge that he's got in this lighter yellow to highlight him up, and give him a 3D look and feel. It's looking a lot more lifelike for a small cartoon rat mouse that is also 3D printed. So it's lifelike as you can get, all things considered. And that's that done. I'm going to be using Filthy Suit, just completely neat, and this is just to highlight those tips of his ears, just give him a nice highlight on the edge of all of those angles. And back to Leather Brown, this is just to paint in those brown bits again, just to make them solid and look professionally done. And that's it, he's finished. You know, I'm fairly happy with it. I did this very quickly and wasn't expecting it to be amazing, and I just wanted to practice before I went onto those doors. So let me know if you want to see a tutorial on painting those doors from Zombicide, and give me any tips you've got on painting 3D models. I'm an amateur at that at best. And finally, a massive thank you to Johnny0851. I really appreciate that. Thanks for sending it me, and thank you all for watching.